Hello, I'm Carla and I have Marianne joining me today. Today's class is a forward bend class. When doing forward bends, be eager, but don't be over eager. Don't hurt yourself going into a forward bend. Oftentimes people will hurt their backs going into a forward bend more than what they do in back bends. And that's because we kind of bend forward to get into the forward bend. And what you want to try and do in forward bends is extend the front body and come forward with that frontal extension. So although it's a forward bend class, don't think forward bends at all. If you do have any back issues, any prolapse discs or things like that, only work into the halfway position. Don't attempt the full forward bends. We've been sitting, change the cross of the legs. Always try to sit with the cross that's a little bit awkward. You're trying to create balance, so you're trying to find that both crosses feel exactly the same and comfortable. Lift up the spine, open up the chest. Marianne and I are sitting on blankets to give just a little bit of height. So if you struggle to sit upright, take a blanket or two underneath the buttocks and bring the hands together in the prayer position. Lift the chest up, and on an exhalation, let the eyes close. With the eyes closed, you're going to focus on your body, focus on your breath. Just take nice smooth inhalations as you extend the spine and lift and open the chest. Each exhalation, you just keep your focus on your body. Try to relax and release any areas of tension. Going to take a few breaths here and beginning the class today with the 3 Oms. Emptying the lungs if you are chanting the Oms. Next breath in, make sure that you keep that spine extended, lift the chest, and then on an exhalation, drop your head down. Release across the top shoulder, across the back of the neck. On the next breath out, take the hands into the lap, and then on an inhalation, gently lift up your head and let the eyes open and focus. From this Swastikasana position, just extending forward, just to stretch out the back. Keep the buttocks grounded. You want to find a little stretch in the glute region, the hip region, and then walking your hands back, come up. Change the cross of the legs again. Once again, you don't want to come into it as a forward bend. You want to extend the front body and then go forward with that extension in the front body. So the whole time in your forward bends, you keep thinking frontal extension, frontal extension, frontal extension. Coming back with the hands. We're coming to lie now in Supta Padangustahsana. So Supta means lying down or sleeping. Padangusta is the big toe, and you'll need a strap, especially if you're not very flexible and cannot actually reach your big toe. So in terms of forward bends, flexibility is obviously an issue. Supta Padangustahsana is a lovely way of working in a relaxed manner and starting to develop that flexibility. Coming to Supta Tadasana, you want to make sure that the feet are alert and alive. You're keeping the legs pressing down as if they were in Tadasana. So nice strong legs here. As you press the thighs down, feel the back of the knee open to the floor. Extend the leg fully so the back ankle also reaches the floor. And with this extension of the legs, with this pressure of the front thigh to the bone, you're going to remember this sensation. Bend up the right leg, and you're taking a strap around the ball of the right foot and holding with 2 hands. First, just straighten up the leg. Now, this left leg suddenly starts to become very light off the floor. Once again, you have to keep pressing that left thigh down to try and get that knee to press towards the floor. And with that same action and intensity, You want to press this right thigh towards the bone. You want to feel when you've taken the right leg up, what your sacrum feels like on the floor. If the sacrum has lifted towards the right side, then this right buttock has to coil towards the left foot. The root of the right thigh has to move away from the right armpit towards the left foot. Keep the throat, the teeth soft. Your shoulders shouldn't be reaching up. You want to relax the shoulders. Keep that chest nice and open. Yours will fine. And with each exhalation, start to see, before I even bring that leg, can I press the left thigh down and split the legs apart and bring the right leg closer to me? So Supta Padangustahsana I, you can hold as long as you like. It's a good warm-up pose. It's a lovely pose to just work into flexibility. Keep resisting that right thigh away, even as you're bringing the leg towards you. And then bend the knee, just hug it into you. Let the foot rest on the floor for a moment so that the quadricep and the hamstring just have a chance to rest. And then standing back into Supta Padangustahsana. Again, make sure that the sacrum feels level on the floor, the flesh of the buttocks is out the way, and you're pressing the thighs down. So when you press the thighs down here, you've got feedback from the floor. When the leg is up in the air, you don't. So get that feedback already here. Feel how strong you can make the legs. Then taking the left leg up, you're going to take the strap around the ball of the foot, and you're holding with two hands so that the chest is open. As you exhale, you want to relax the teeth, the jaw, the neck, and keep that upper arm moving into the shoulder socket. Keep the chest open. Each exhalation, see, can you diminish the air, the space behind that right thigh? You want to press the right thigh down. As much as you're pressing the right thigh to the floor, you also want to press this left thigh to the bone as if it was moving towards the floor. The root of the left thigh has to move away so that that left waist is nice and long. Root of the left thigh moves away towards the right foot. Left buttock moves towards the right foot. Feel that levelness in your sacrum. Feel the sacrum on the floor. And then see, can you bring that leg a little bit closer? Pressing the right thigh down. Exhale, bring that left leg. When you've been there for a few breaths, when you've stretched that leg the same length of time as you stretch the right leg, you'll release the leg and just bend. You can hug it into you first, or just put the foot on the floor, and with the knee bent, give the thigh, hamstring, and the quad a chance to release. Okay, so Paschimottanasana is the full forward fold, when you're seated and you fold yourself over your legs. Urdhva Mukha Paschimottanasana is upward facing Paschimottanasana, so basically an upside down Paschimottanasana. We're beginning with Urdhva Mukha Paschimottanasana number 2. So taking up both legs now, you're going to take the strap around the ball of both legs. Start by bringing the legs to 90 degrees, so straightening the legs. Just keep the ankles over the hips, even if you're very flexible. This might be work for some people. If this is work for you, you keep working here, and you keep working as on your flexibility, keeping the legs straight, keeping the thighs resisting to the bone. Feel how the sacrum is on the floor. So the idea in Urdhva Mukha is that you're not lifting the buttocks like Halasana. So as you exhale, empty out the abdomen, widen the elbows. Will the legs come closer towards you? Each inhalation, lift the chest, extend the spine. Each exhalation, relax the shoulders, the jaw, the teeth. Relax the shoulders. Elbows can come down. Yes. You can start moving your hands closer towards the feet. Try to keep the sacrum grounded, bum down. So you may not get very far here, but this pose gives you a lot of feedback. You can feel which parts of your back start to press into the floor, start to want to round. Here, because the back is restricted along the floor, that extension of the front body is held. You're not able to bend. So it's a wonderful, wonderful practice, especially if you're trying to develop your flexibility. Urdhva Mukha Paschimottanasana number 2. And when you've held it for a few breaths, release the legs, rest in Supta Padangustahsana. A little trick, if you plan on holding these poses for long, just twirl your hand around the strap. Yeah. Okay, bending your knees, rolling onto your side. We are coming now to Adho Mukha Virasana. Adho Mukha Virasana, come near the back of your mat and go a little bit forward. Your toes are going to stay together, your knees are apart. You only take the knees apart enough that this pushy inner thigh supports the sides of the body. And now keeping the buttocks grounded, again, find that extension of the front body and come to Adho Mukha Virasana. If you can keep that extension in the front body for as long as possible, then that's fantastic. The back will round though, so don't stress about the back rounding. It's absolutely natural and normal that it rounds. You just don't want to bend it into like a question mark when you're coming to forward bends. Here, you're placing the hands shoulder distance apart already. Here, you're already engaging the arms. So as you press the forearms into the floor, as you press the palms into the floor, you want to engage the elbows and lift the forearms away from the floor. The triceps have to coil towards the face so that this top shoulder can be free. Then, coming onto all fours, don't change the distance between the hands and the knees. You can turn the toes under and take the feet hip distance apart. Lift to Adho Mukha Svanasana. It's the first Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let the heels come up, let the buttocks lift, let the legs extend, the arms extend, the spine extend, just stretch in this downward dog. And then exhale, let go your head. Don't overthink it. And as you exhale and let go the head, push into the hands and see, can you, with the pressure on the hands, make the sides of the body long and keep moving the root of the front thigh up, make the spine long. With the pressure on the hands, move the root of the thigh back, above and below the knee, move back, in front of the ankle, move back. Try to get the heel on the floor. You need to try and control here and narrow here a little bit. Yes, keep the front ribs back. So if you're very flexible in Adho Mukha Svanasana, you tend to really arch into that back. So for flexible people, you need to control the abdomen and keep the front ribs drawing back. Naturally, you just sort of hang into the spine and let the ribs go all over the place. Coil the triceps towards the face, keep this lat area subdued, and then looking to the front of the mat, start to walk the feet forward. Coming to Ardha Uttanasana. Ardha Uttanasana is half Uttanasana. Uttanasana, ut means intense. Uttanasana is this forward extension. In Ardha Uttanasana, the feet are hip distance apart. You're on your fingertips. If you cannot reach the floor, if you don't have the same flexibility, then of course taking bricks for underneath your hands at whatever height will help you to get more of this extension of the front body and that length in the spine versus battling and coming down and forcing the back to be all rounded. Rather have bricks and work on that extension. The sacrum has to move into the body. The sacrum is this lowest part of your spine. Feel how it has to dive into the body. Often, for a little bit of freedom and flexibility, it's nice to swing the buttocks back so you can do that a little bit, feel a little bit of freedom, and then bring the weight of the hips over the heels again, extend the chest forward. So Ardha Uttanasana is the half Uttanasana. Now, bringing action to the legs, extending the breastbone forward, life into the legs and the spine, come to standing in Tadasana. Tadasana is the mountain pose. Mountain pose can be done with the feet hip distance apart, but bring the feet together and just be in Tadasana for a few breaths. Right, so the closer together you take your legs, the more difficult a forward bend becomes. All right, so we're beginning today, we're going to start, and we're going to take now Prasarita Padottanasana. You only need the bricks if you cannot reach the floor, right? Taking the legs wide for Prasarita Padottanasana. You want the legs quite wide. So when you extend your arms, The wrist bone and the ankle bone should align. So you want the legs pretty wide, unless you have hip issues, okay? Don't be tempted to go too wide. It's easier to get the head on the floor that way, but it's not going to help you in your forward bend endeavors. From here, keeping the knees firm, extending again the spine, the front body, bring the sacrum into the body and bring your hands underneath your shoulders. So for beginners, hands underneath the shoulders. Now, here again, keep that firmness of the thighs. If you are very flexible and you tend to dip in the back, you want to keep that control of the abdomen. And then move your hands back in line with your feet, but keep your chest extending forward, keep the arms straight. Look up. You want to move the hands as far back as you can get them, hopefully in line with the heels. Then keeping the legs strong, on an exhalation, dive the sacrum in and let the head descend towards the floor. You want to extend the sides of the body down. You want to extend the spine down. You want to keep the lift of the legs. You want to let go the head so that the crown of the head extends towards the floor. There will be a little bit of a dome shape on the back. You'll never get the back super straight, but you're not allowing that dorsal hump to just happen. Keep the elbows in line with the shoulders. Keep the arches lifted, the knees and the thighs drawn up. This is a wonderful pose to practice being upside down. It's good preparation for Shirshasana, the head balance. It's often done in place of head balance. Now, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders. Once again, you want to keep the legs firm when you come up. If this feels wide for you and you want to rather heel toe in first, then absolutely do. If you can come up with a straight spine, straight legs with this width, step the feet together once you're up and rest in Tadasana. Beautiful. Okay, do you want to show from the side? So, Prasarita Padottanasana is one of those poses that you can keep practicing. In the classic position, you want to keep that extension of the front body so you can even look up a little bit and then come down, taking the fingertips on the floor. Outer edges of the feet are parallel. You can see the hips are aligned with the ankles, moving the hands back with that extension of the front body. And then as you exhale, diving the sacrum down, letting the rib cage kind of, imagine somebody's pulling the rib cage down, spreading the rib cage so that you're getting yourself in between the legs. Hands are shoulder distance apart, already working that rotation for Shirshasana number 2. And this is how you're trying to work in Prasarita Padottanasana, where the back is extended, it's nice and long, and you're not going into it like a question mark. You need to maintain that extension of the front body where the waist comes towards the inner thigh. Now, back to the upright and come up. Heel toe in, come to Tadasana. So any of the forward bends that we're going to be proceeding with now are with the legs narrower and narrower and narrower. So if you feel any discomfort, if they're really challenging for you, keep repeating, coming back to Prasarita Padottanasana and downward facing dog that we did earlier. However, if you're happy to work a little bit deeper into your forward bends, we're going to transition to full classic Uttanasana. So begin with you've got a standard mat, begin with the feet as wide as your mat. If you have the outer edges of the feet on the outer edges of your mat, the feet will actually be a little bit pigeon-toed. And that's a lovely place to work because it gives a spread in the sacrum. So with this awkward wide leg pigeon-toe business, you're going to come on your fingertips to Uttanasana, keep the legs gripped, keep the spine long. And then we're going to go into Gulphasana. Gulphasana is when you cup your hand behind the outer ankle. So holding onto the outer ankle, you take the thumb around with the fingers. Now, widening the elbows, exhale, let go of the head and bring yourself closer to your legs. So Gulphasana is lovely because it helps you to kind of move into that deeper forward bend that isn't always accessible when you're just working purely with flexibility. Gulphasana is also a lovely pose to do For beginners, these poses tone the abdominals. They're very, very beneficial. From this wide leg Uttanasana, you can bring your hands back into the halfway position. Strong legs, extend the breastbone forward. Can you find that extension in the front body to come up? And bring the feet together. Right. At any point in time, if you do feel you're straining the hamstring, rather start bending the knees to come up and down. Don't overdo. Okay. So, Uttanasana, the full Uttanasana is done with the feet together. Padangusthasana and Padahastasana are great preparatory poses to get you there. So, keeping the feet hip distance apart. Padangusthasana is when you hold onto your big toe. If you're flexible enough to do so, you're going to grab hold of your big toe. And at first, you are looking up. So it's almost as if you want to pull that toe off. That's how much you're looking up with the chest. However, the toe presses down. You're not allowed to let that toe come up. From here, once you've got this concave action in Padangusthasana, Padahastasana, and Uttanasana are quite beneficial for helping to bring in a slip disc, but you do have to work with caution. Exhale, widen the elbows, release the head down, extend the spine down, complete Padangusthasana. You can keep the elbows a little bit softer so that, yes, perfect. You can wind here. Beautiful. Padangusthasana. Padangusta is the big toe. If you're not blessed in the flexibility department, then taking a loop with your yoga strap, placing it on the floor, and if you step on the loop and you create yourself two even little handles, then here suddenly I've got something to work with in that halfway lift for people who cannot actually reach the big toe. Okay, and you're ready to come up. Lift up, come to standing, bring the legs together, be in Tadasana for a moment. You good? Okay, listen to your body. Forward bends are challenging, especially if you're a beginner. If you have back issues, please, please, please listen to your body and don't force and overdo. If you were unable to hold your big toe in Padangusthasana, you are again going to take this little handle arrangement and you are working in Padangusthasana. However, if you're able to, feet hip distance apart, and you're going to slide your hands underneath the feet for Padahastasana. Lift the foot up. Try to get the whole hand under the foot so that the toes are into the wrist. Then straighten up the legs. Concave back. Exhale, release the head. Extend the spine. Strong legs up, head down. Press the toes into the hands. When you've been there for a couple of breaths in Padahastasana, come through the halfway lift. Release the hands to the halfway lift and up you come. Stand in Tadasana. So in the classic Uttanasana, the feet are together. With the feet together does make it a little bit challenging for some, and that is why you will then have bricks if you need. With the feet together, come to the bricks. Ardha Uttanasana is the halfway. If it's too challenging to keep the feet together, take them apart. If you don't need bricks, set the bricks aside or just gradually drop them. Hands on the floor. And now as you exhale, maintain the extension of the front body. You want this length of the abdomen to connect with the length of the thighs. And then once you close from here, bringing the thighs and the abdomen together, let go your head. Take your hands next to your feet. Take your hands back so the heel of the hand is past the heel of the foot. Let go the head, nice strong legs. Beautiful forward bend. Keep the legs gripped up, holding you in this forward bend. Feel that extension and release of the spine. If it's a chore and a challenge and awful, please come up. When you've been there, after a couple of cycles of breath, or when your body tells you and signals that it's time, you're going to bring your hands back under the shoulders, back to the halfway lift, and then one more time coming to Tadasana. This up and down can be quite tiring, so we're coming now to Dandasana. Sitting on the floor in Dandasana, legs are extended out in front of you. If you're not flexible and you are unable to get onto the buttock bones and the sacrum to lift into the body. If you're kind of seated here somewhere, then definitely take blankets underneath the buttocks. Otherwise, the legs are in Dandasana, Tadasana action, strong legs, thighs are pressing down. If you need to keep the feet hip distance apart, you do. Dandasana, hands are at your sides, extend the sides of the body, lift up the chest, take the sides of the neck back. Yes. Press the thighs down, hands at your sides. The arms are too long, you have to extend your spine. If your spine is too long, you have to extend your arms. Dandasana, you can also go from here into Urdhva Dandasana. Urdhva Dandasana is extending the arms up over your head. When you do your forward bends, it's helpful to imagine that somebody's pulling your arms up and lifting right from the rib cage. Exhale, release the hands down and have a rest. Padangusthasana is often done from Dandasana. Again, you're going to reach forward, grab the big toe, and lift yourself up. So it's what we did when we were in the standing position. Now you're doing it on the floor. Padangusthasana is the big toe. We're going to come to Ubhaya Padangusthasana. So Ubhaya Padangusthasana, you're going to come up, bend your knees, still holding on to the toes. You don't want to fall back, so you need to keep the sacrum lifted into the body. You need to keep the chest lifting towards the legs. When you're ready, you're going to straighten up the legs. If you need, you can use those little strap handles that we did in Padangusthasana. However, holding the toe, the grip on the toe just gives you so much in this pose. Lift the chest, feel that you're pushing the back spine into the body, the legs are straight. Feel that extension of the legs and the arms, and you're balancing on the buttocks, having a breath or two here. Then, when you need to rest, release, bend the legs, release back to Dandasana. Right, so Ubhaya Padangusthasana, the pose that we just did, we're going to repeat now. And Ubhaya Padangusthasana is a good way of learning to go into Urdhva Mukha Paschimottanasana number 1. We already did Urdhva Mukha Paschimottanasana number 2 when we were lying on the floor. So coming to Ubhaya Padangusthasana. Now the idea once you're in Ubhaya Padangusthasana is like you did on the floor, that you widen the elbows and you sandwich yourself together. So it is helpful if somebody sort of pushes your back and your legs together, widen the elbows. Can you pull yourself towards yourself? Release anytime you need, because we are going to repeat it. Have a rest. So if it feels like your big toe is just about to be ripped out of its socket, Ubhaya Padangusthasana, when you go into the fold, it's so nice to grip the ankles like you did for Gulphasana earlier on. Yeah? So last one. Grip the toes or the outer edges of the feet, come to the upright, and now taking your hands, holding on to the outer feet here. Holding that Gulphasana kind of hold, bring yourself together. Yes, lift your chest. Good. So sometimes the toe hold doesn't feel as secure, and you can also hold a little bit closer to the ankle, and that also is quite helpful because then you can pull yourself towards yourself. Okay, so you don't have to necessarily do it just with the big toe. And release and come down. Paschimottanasana is the full forward fold. Paschimottanasana, you can take a number of supports. You're doing it from Dandasana, and we'll do the first one with the feet hip distance apart. With the feet hip distance apart, make sure you're on the buttock bones, you've moved the flesh of the buttocks back, and you're able to get the sacral lift into the body so the spine is extended. If that sacral lift doesn't come, if you're unable to sit on the buttock bones, you absolutely need to sit on a blanket. The feet are apart, and we're going to extend the arms up over your head. And as you exhale, with that extension, come forward, either holding the outer edges of the toe or of the foot or the big toe. Lift up first to the halfway lift. Find that extension of the abdomen, and then widen the elbows. Complete the pose by releasing the head down. If you do not have the capacity to grip hold of the feet for Paschimottanasana, then taking a strap is helpful, but it's best to work in the halfway position until you have the flexibility to complete the pose. Then you can either just use the strength of your thighs, lift yourself up, or you can push your hands into the floor. If that went okay, you're going to repeat it. If you want to challenge yourself, you're going to bring the legs together. You don't necessarily have to take the arms up, but it is a nice way of finding that frontal extension. So when you're ready, as you extend up, don't go down, reach forward, get that length, that extension in the front body, and holding onto the feet. If you happen to be flexibly blessed, then you can also take bricks, and holding beyond the brick is actually a really nice feeling, because then you can extend the sides of the body. So if you are flexible, just give yourself some leg extensions so that you can work here with a little bit more oomph. Paschimottanasana is a challenging pose for some. Again, don't force it. Just listen to your body when you do the pose. It is a wonderful, wonderful forward bender. Very quieting, soothing pose. When you've been there for a couple of breaths, you're going to come to the halfway lift to extend the spine, and then come to sitting in Dandasana. Dandasana is also the position that we work into to come into Purvottanasana. So come forward towards me a bit. Purvottanasana is challenging for some people. We'll start off with the feet, with the legs bent. So when you bend up your leg, put your foot where your calf was. So if you bend up your leg, put your foot where your calf was, then put the other foot. Fingertips face you. The hands can be slightly behind you, hands shoulder distance apart. You're going to keep your head centered, lift your buttocks off the floor, lift and open the groin, and take the head back. The hamstrings have to work here. You're pressing into the legs, the buttocks are working, and you're getting an extension in the front body. And then exhale, release, and come down. Okay, classic position is with the legs straight. If you have a neck injury, don't take the head back. If you're able to do it with the legs straight, give it a bash. This is a counter pose to all the forward bends that we did. So although it's challenging, try to feel that release in the front body, and then ready to come down and rest. Okay. Setu Bandha is also a lovely pose to extend and open the front body. Setu Bandha is one of the poses that's done instead of shoulder balance. You need a shoulder balance. You need a brick. If you don't have a brick, just go grab one from builders and cover it in paper even, it will work. So you're going to lie on your back. Head and shoulders are going to remain on the floor. And the brick is going to come right on the buttocks at the tailbone. So my tailbone is on the brick, some of my butt and some of my sacrum is on the brick. It's not up in the waist, it's not down by the butt. Lie down first, and then you take your feet close to your butt, feet hip distance apart, pressing into the feet, lift your butt up and get that brick into that spot. If it's really an impossible mission, then keep the brick on its medium height and across the back so that it's not as intense, but you won't get as much of a stretch. In Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, this is supported Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, we have the brick. The classic position, you want to extend the legs. Now, extend your legs, make sure that the brick feels stable. You can turn your palms to face up as well. Extending the legs. If it catches your back in any way, then you need to bend the knees again, all right? The legs extended gives you this wonderful release on all the areas where we scrunched in the forward bend. Bend up the knees again. If you want to extend the legs and get the stretch, but it's really not pleasant on your back, you can either get a friend to bring you, keep the brick here. You can either get a friend to bring you a bolster or some cushions, and when you straighten the leg, straightening onto a little bit of support is just a lot kinder on the back. So listen to your body, know your body, and if you need more height, more support, take it. That's the beauty of Iyengar yoga. Good. You can hold this pose for as long as it feels okay in the sacrum. Try to just enjoy that release of the abdomen, the groins. So we're opening the body in a completely different way to what the whole practice has been, just as a release. Bending your knees once again. You can slowly start to remove the brick, or if your back has no issues, you can just whip it out and release the spine onto the floor. You can hug up your knees if you need to. Just completely release. Okay, setting the brick aside, we're going to come now to Shavasana. Shavasana is a quiet restorative pose. So you're lying straight up in the middle of the mat. Keep your knees bent to start off with, so that the flesh of the buttocks is away from the back waist and you're able to quietly release the abdomen. Taking the hands at the sides, palms face up in a gesture of receiving, and then on an exhalation, extend the legs. Relax the legs from the inner groin out, let the feet flop out to the side. Can you completely relax the shoulders towards the floor, and from the shoulder you're releasing the whole arm to the fingers. The fingertips are curled, the palm is just soft. Back of the neck is long, so tuck in your chin, make sure that the back of the neck is long. And if your head just doesn't do that shape easily, if the chin is higher than the forehead, then please take a blanket for underneath your head. In this Shavasana position, you just want to feel the sensations of the poses that you've done on your body. Feel how your back muscles have stretched and worked. Feel the release here as you breathe in and out, each exhalation, just surrendering a little bit more into this quiet Shavasana state. You want to stay in Shavasana for as long as you have time for. This is intended just to be a short session, so start to allow the breath to deepen. You can bring your hands onto your abdomen, anywhere where it's comfortable. Resting your hands on your torso, just start to deepen the breath. On the next inhalation, you can stretch your arms over your head, give your body a long, deep stretch, yawn or sigh the breath out. Then bending your knees, you're going to roll to your side. Just stay in that fetal position for a few moments until you feel ready to come up. Once you're ready to come up, you're going to press your hand into the floor, use it to come up into any comfortable seated position. Once you're sitting up, bring the hands in the prayer position, close the eyes. Extend the spine up, lift and open the chest. Take a moment here to connect with your body. Take a moment here to give thanks for the health and strength of your body. On the next breath in, let the eyes gently flutter open and focus. Namaste. Thank you for joining us. Thanks, Marianne. See you next time.